All right, everyone, we are back. We are about to bring on Mike Novak, and we're going to talk about the showing partner model. And I know there was a lot of hype, a lot of people tuning in, probably from the YLOPO community that wanted to hear about this. So, Mike, I'm going to bring you on. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing so good. So funny story. I can personally attest to how tight of a ship Mike runs and how well his business is just oiled because I used to work for you back in college. So
That's right.
that's one of the people I can actually say I did work for. Yeah. Mike, I hear a lot of hype about this showing partner model, and I'm sure you have. When you presented this at Hatch a little while back, how long did you have to present it?
We had 90 minutes, so I'm going to try and condense into 30 minutes what we went over in that time frame and still leave some time for questions. But it's going to be kind of a breakneck speed just to get the amount of content out there that I want to make sure that everyone gets, including some very specific and tactical details that they can walk away with today and make sure they understand this model. This model is not the perfect model for everybody, but for us, it really allowed us to find our feet, our traction, and really enjoy our business again. And it restored a level of profitability that we never had in our business. So for us, it's been really exciting. And I definitely am excited to share that with you guys today.
Yeah, let's hop right into it. If we're trying to do, and maybe we'll do another webinar. Maybe you have something online that we can point people to.
Sure.
But yeah, let's try and get as much out of this as we can in these 30 minutes here. And if you want to share screen, you got slides. Let's hop into this thing.
How do I share my screen here, Zach?
So there should be, if you look towards the bottom where it has your camera and mic, there should be a share screen option.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And then it will make you choose a window or a browser that you want to pull up. Looks like that's there. I'm going to pull that up. I'm seeing it. So I think we're good to go here.
Okay, awesome. And Zach, I want you to feel free to stop me. I know that you have a lot of questions about this. So if you do, let's have that dialogue going as we are going through the process. But I'm just going to go ahead and jump in, and feel free to stop me if you want to.
And same goes for anyone in the chat. I mean, we can easily pull up a comment and dig into it a little bit. So just drop a comment if you want to go into something.
So real quick, this is our family. My wife, Rachel, and I own the Novak real estate team. We're part of Keller Williams Real Estate. We've been married for 12 years. We've got 3 young kids. We both work very full-time in real estate. We've been licensed for about 3.5 years at this point. In 2017, the first year we were in real estate together, we didn't really build a team, and we did about 79 transactions that first year. And then we scaled up and had a huge year in 2018. We built a team. We added a lot of people to that team, and we did about 220 transactions. In 2019, we kind of lost our way a little bit. Like, we added a lot of agents. We had 32 people or something like that on our team. And you can see what happened to our transaction count. We dropped down to 189 transactions and actually did less in 2018. And then in 2020, we kind of found our way. You know, we came into contact with Eric Hatch, who runs Hatch Coaching. He's my personal coach and Rachel's as well. And Eric has really mastered this partner model, both on the listing side and on the buyer side. And he really helped us build and implement this into our business. So we started working with Eric last October, and we've been kind of students of the game as far as building this model into our business goes. Eric's team is going to do probably 850 transactions this year. And they have a lot of agents in their team that are going to do between 80 and 120 transactions each.
Rock stars over there at Hatch. Rock stars.
Yeah. Not only are they incredible people, but they're running just a killer business. It's super profitable, and they're helping people build runways and build their own businesses within Eric's team. So in 2020, we're on track to do about 265 deals. I checked my CSU right before I came on, and we're at 224 year to date. So we've had a good rebound from the setbacks of 2019. So here's kind of the problem, if I could just break it down, that we experienced is a lot of people and a lot of coaches are telling you to add agents, add agents, add agents. And that works for some people. For us, that did not work. We ended up about a year ago with 18 agents on our team. And it just was not a profitable place to be. Our average volume was about 10 to 12 deals per agent. We had 3 or 4 agents that were doing 30 to 40 deals. And so those were like really doing the bulk of our volume, but the low producers were taking up a lot of our resources, a lot of our time, a lot of our training, and we just weren't having a ton of fun with it either. So I think in real estate, there's a little bit of a pull to want to get out of production. And I had done that. I kind of followed that path, and I thought that getting out of production would allow me to build my team quicker and support my team better, and it didn't really work that way, and that's not really what we experienced. So when I stepped out of production in, I believe it was early 2019, I was out for quite a while, or maybe the end of 2018. And it kind of took the wind out of my sails. I love the sales part of real estate personally. I like kind of setting the pace for our team, showing them what can be possible and expanding the realm of possibility as well, as far as transactions go and volume and things like that. And so for me to be out of production, it took away the fun from real estate from me. So in real estate, there's there's kind of this attraction to be out of production. Like, once you're out of production, you don't have to talk to buyers and sellers. You can sit on the beach and just count the money. And that's not really the way it works. If you look at the way that your business is structured, a lot of your profit is probably coming from your personal production. Most of the rainmakers, they're top producers, and a lot of their personal commissions are what's feeding their team growth. So that's kind of what we noticed as well. But there's a tendency to just add agents without really thinking about how these people are going to be productive within your business. And for us, we had a lot of new agents coming on, and these people were just kind of a warm body. Like, they had a real estate license, but they had never sold real estate before. And we were just throwing them leads, Ylopo, Realtor.com, these leads, and trusting them to be able to convert these leads into business. And the reality is, lead conversion is a tough game. It takes years to master. And we weren't really setting them up for success by doing it that way. So this is kind of what our business looked like at that point. I was in the rainmaker role, out of production. We had a whole bunch of agents going on, and then we had our admin team here on the right side. So it's a pretty wide and flat model. There's a lot of reporting back to the rainmaker and not a lot of leverage built into it. So version 2.0, what Eric helped us build, was to go deeper. So instead of adding a bunch of agents, we pulled our agents back. If they weren't selling about 20, 24 homes a year, we just didn't feel like we were maybe the best team for them. So that's kind of the benchmark that we put out there for our team. And we ended up keeping 3 of our top agents, and we now have 6 agents on our team, including my wife and myself. So I jumped back into production, which was huge to get our transaction count up, restore our profitability as well. The other thing it did for us is it helped us develop career progression. Like, this is something that I think Eric has put a lot of thought into, and there's a real lack of progression in real estate right now. Like, people, if they're trying to jump into real estate, they're often not licensed yet. They get licensed, and then they take that plunge into a straight commission income, and it becomes very difficult and scary for them to take that leap, simply because they don't have, like, maybe a lot of savings, and they're not going to have a deal closed for 60, 90, 120 days. And so it becomes this like big gap that they have to cross to progress into being a successful agent. So what we did is we created that showing partner and listing partner role. We put a base salary on that role, so they had a couple years to build their skill set and progress into being an agent. So, and then last but not least is we doubled down on our baller agents, and we're adding leverage for them. So they're now adding their partners as well.
Interesting.
This is kind of what the model looks like now. So we've got 4 elite agents. They're all adding their partners. I've got 2 partners myself, and the listing or a database organizer as well. We broke our admin team up where we have a chief of operations. She runs a transaction coordinator and a licensed runner as well. So we don't have a lot of width to our model now. We've just got more depth to it. So, and by doing that, like you saw from our transaction counts, we're able to take our transactions and add about 40% more volume on by not having even a third as many agents as we had before. So Eric and I talk a lot about the right way to build a team. I think a lot of people, they want to add an agent as their first hire, and both him and I think that's a mistake. If I was going to build a team from scratch today, this is the order with which I would build it. I would start by adding an admin, and then I would add another admin. At that point, I would add a showing partner, because that person will then create massive leverage for me to no longer be showing houses. And then I would add an ISA so that I can step back on the lead conversion side of things. That takes a couple of hours a day. It's very time consuming. My 5th hire would be a second partner to add that additional piece of leverage. And then my 6th hire would actually be to add an agent. So most people are doing it way up here. We're saying do it way down here. Make sense?
And then you're saying bringing that agent and have them follow a similar progression, right?
So when you add that agent, they're going to have the leverage of your admin already. So they're going to be able to jump right into number 3 and add their own partner, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love it.
So here's kind of what that career progression looks like. So the left side is where they start. So our showing partner has a $40,000 a year base salary. They get 5% on homes that they show, or if they are the listing partner, we've got listing partners and showing partners. If they're the listing partner, they get 5% on the homes where they were the partner that supported the listing agent. The key to graduate from that role is 2 years in that space, plus 16 sphere deals. And the sphere deals are really important to us and to Eric as well, because it allows us to make sure that the person can actually generate their own business. A lot of our business comes from our past clients, comes from our sphere. We want to make sure that person has developed that skill set to cultivate their sphere and turn it into business. So we're looking for the 2 years and 16 deals, and then we're willing to pass them on into being a commissioned agent. That's when they become what we call a team agent, and their splits are 40-60 at that point, 40 to the agent, 60% to the team, and they do not have a base salary at that point. So they've had 2 years to build a skill set, and they're not just being thrown into production right away. So their odds of being successful go up dramatically. So graduate from the team agent, we're looking for about 3 years in that capacity, and also being involved in our leadership team as well. We have 2 agents. We've been in the business now 3.5 years. We have 2 agents that have just crossed this threshold on our team to the elite agent. I believe Eric has like 5 or 6 on his team at least, just because he's been doing it like 7 years. So does that make sense? Sets people up to develop their skills and not just jump right into it?
What was that?
Does that make sense, Zach, on how we help people build that skill set and they don't just jump right into it?
No, yeah, it's totally, and that's, Zach saying that career progression is huge. It totally is. I mean, it gives you that path, right?
Right, exactly. And here's the reality is when you get to the team agent role, our average team agent is making about $160,000 a year. That is doctor level money. And to not be committed to taking the time to build a doctor level skill set, I think is a really big mistake to make. It takes years to do it. 2 years is not even that big of a time. Doctors go to school for 8-10 years plus residency and everything else. And we're asking people to just jump in, on day one and start making a 6-figure income. And so when you take a step back and you look at it, you're really setting people up to fail if you don't have that part figured out.
Mike, interested to know, Ricky's asking, so does the salary come from the company or from their buyer agent partner? Like, how exactly does this work if I'm another agent coming on? And
yeah, great question. So there's basically 3 steps in the process. The first step, when you're a team agent, to add a partner is to rent a partner. That means just hourly. You're paying $25 an hour to borrow the showing partner, and that person can be leveraged for you for inspections and for showing houses. The next step is to split a partner. So 2 team agents will split one showing partner, and they will split that salary in half. And then the final progression is having your own partner. And at that point, the agent pays the full salary. The way that we're structuring it and the way that Eric has structured it as well is the team pays that salary, and then the agent just credits it back to the team from their next deal or on like a monthly statement.
Okay. Great question, Ricky.
Yeah, great question. On the elite agent side of things, the splits go, more in the agent's favor, just because at that point they're hitting a super elite level of business. They go to 50-50 splits, 60-40 on sphere. And then this person, the elite agents, are able to add team agents underneath them and get 10% of their business as well. So kind of building a team within a team, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Very cool.
So I like math just because I think math tells the true story. And so this is kind of like a very basic level analysis of how our business changed in 1 year on the math. So on the left side, we've got the traditional kind of buyer agent model that you see a lot of teams running. If we had a $425,000 average sale price, you can see what the average GCI would be, around 12.7. You'd give 50% over to your buyer agent, 6,300 would stay to the team, out of which you have to pay all of your expenses, of course. If you do 200 transactions, you would have about 1.275 to the team. On the right side, if you ran 200 transactions using the partner model and you paid 3 salaries to get there, that'd be $120,000. Plus, you would have about $637 going to each partner as they actually sell those homes. You would net about 2.3 million to the team before your expenses on that, like your lead gen and your general expenses. So you can see the math is pretty clear that it has a huge impact on your bottom line.
Interesting.
So the results that we got, our profit, like 2019 for us was a miserable profit year. We barely made any money. And this year we hit all of our income goals and all of our transaction goals by the end of Q3. So our profit went up about 500%. Our unit counts, like you saw earlier, they're up about 30%. Our turnover, which has such a huge impact on culture within a team, has almost completely gone away. Before, to us, it felt like a revolving door. There's new agents coming, other agents leaving, and it just kind of wore our culture down. And to us, that just wasn't a fun place to be. I'm able to have every other weekend off at this point too. Like every other weekend, I take a 3-day weekend with my kids. We've got 3 young kids, like I shared earlier. And we go away, we either go like ATVing or we go on a trip somewhere, and we get to go unplug and just be present with our family, knowing our partner is going to cover that for us. And then one of the rhythms that we also do is we take a vacation every quarter. We go away for 5 to 7 days. Sometimes it's just Rachel and myself with an adults only trip. Sometimes it's the whole family, but we're able to really go away for 5 to 7 days and be present when we are away and not glued to our phone, just because we have that partner support. So, and then the last statistic is very unscientific, but my headaches are definitely dramatically down, and alcohol consumption is down as well.
That's all. These are the numbers that count, man. I love seeing
So let's talk about hiring a partner.
Into real quick, Mike, if you got a sec.
Yeah.
So 2 more questions from Ricky. Ricky, you're asking great questions. So I'll keep popping you on. How long? I mean, what kind of transition was this for you? Getting from, it sounds like you made the transition pretty quick. I mean,
we did about 60 days to go from having 18 agents down to having about 6, and then about another 60 days to add the partners in.
Okay, cool. And answering this question, going from no profit to 500%, that's the numbers of how they break down on that, kind of like that math you showed a couple slides ago, right? Really the way that you're paying, and I'm guessing you're actually recruiting probably easier too when you can throw out a base salary, right? So
yeah, I mean, we're one of the few teams in our market that even has a position like that. So they're not the hardest positions to fill, because they really offer that entry level role with some safety and security to it. You're able to attract people that maybe are coming from like a restaurant background or something that translates pretty well into real estate, but they don't have a whole bunch of savings saved up. And it allows them to bridge that gap from, having a fixed income to being commission only in the future,
One more, Mike. I don't want to hog up your whole thing, but partners W-2, and you're dealing with mileage, insurance, that type of stuff as well. I'm sure there's a part of the equation with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we don't offer like health benefits on our team at this point. We probably will in the future, but right now it's not something we do. I know Eric does that for his team.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Great question.
And then we do a fixed amount per month, just because like for car and gas and things like that, just because they're in their car a ton, putting a lot of miles in their car.
Yep. There's a lot of questions here. I'm going to let you keep going for a minute here, Mike.
Okay, sounds good.
There are these slides somewhere online. I mean, there's a ton of interest here, and
I can publish them in the CC Mastermind or send them to you, and you can put them up.
Yeah, please do. And I'll get them over here. So that would be awesome.
So talking about hiring a partner, and to start with the when do you know that you're ready to hire a partner as a single agent? I kind of went over hiring the admin roles first, which is really important. But when you add the partner, I think it's when you start feeling like you can't take adequate care of your clients, like things start kind of slipping through the cracks. Maybe you can't get back to people as fast as you want. Maybe you can't be 2 places at the same time, or your life kind of feels out of balance and chaotic. You haven't had a weekend off in a couple of months. You're just kind of grinding. At that point, I think you have to hire a partner. I asked Tyler Lindahl, who is one of the top agents at Hatch Real Estate. Tyler started as a partner with Hatch Real Estate, and he progressed all the way to the elite agent level. Tyler's going to close about 120, 130 transactions this year. I asked Tyler, when did you hire a partner when you moved into the team agent role? And he said he hired them literally on day 1. He went and took a loan to pay that person's salary for the first month because he was that sold on the model. He had seen it in action, and he was a firm believer in it. So if Tyler can do that, and then we're all out, sitting on reserves, and we're doing 30, 40 transactions a year, you definitely can afford a partner for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are they going to do? They're going to, first of all, provide leverage for you as the agent. They're going to free you up to do the things that make you more money, higher income producing activities. They're going to train. One of the biggest things that this career progression provides is the ability to train this person at a very high level over a period of years and not just a shotgun approach to training of a couple weeks. And then they can also help with lead conversion. So our showing partners, they will send out push listings from Ylopo to the clients. They'll respond to text messages in the CRM, things like that. As far as the who goes, we really like an IS as a disc. That is not set in stone by any means. Like the culture fit is more important than the disc to us, but the ISs seem to work pretty well for us. And we're kind of looking for people that, you know, they're going to have some time in the business. Like they're going to have 10 or 20 years where they want to be in real estate. They're not kind of at the end of their career, but more at the beginning of their career. So a couple of ours are like in their 20s and they just have a ton of energy and are super driven. So for us, you know, we always look at the humble, hungry, smart. Those are the 3 keys for us. If they have those, then generally they're a good culture fit as well.
Very good stuff.
This is our 8-step hiring process, again, from Hatch. Like this is something Hatch has really refined and that we have taken from him. But this is what we go through to hire a partner. It's not a fast process. The last partner I hired, it took 3 months to go from the beginning to the end of that with finding the right person. But if you find the right person, you've done about 90% of the work. So first thing we will do is we will post on Wise Hire and we will engage our sphere to find these people. We'll review the resumes and discs. We're looking to just disqualify people, you know, crappy looking resumes, people that have hopped around from different jobs, people that don't seem like they're really focused on getting just this job. They're just sending out resumes to a bunch of people. If we like what we see there, we take them on to step 1, which is the Google form. And we send out a Google form that's got some very specific questions that they answer. And if we like what we see there, we move them on to a phone interview. At that point, we email them a Google Doc with instructions to fill out some essay questions. And it seems like an insignificant step, but we're kind of testing your technical abilities because, believe it or not, this is kind of a shock to me, but some people don't know how to actually use a Google Doc. They don't know how to they don't know how to like copy it or fill out the questions or then share it with the people we're asking them to share it. And so it's kind of a technical question, really, like, can you actually do something or figure out how to do something that you maybe don't have the technical skills to do? Just because we're a tech forward company, we're big believers in Ylopo and Sisu and Sierra Interactive, and we want to make sure that they're going to be able to play in our toolbox and be able to use all those tools. Step 4 is the in-person interview. That's the first one. We've already done a phone interview at that point. We then do what's called a KPA through Keller Williams, which is an additional personality assessment. If that still looks good, we move on to an in-person interview number 2. That is typically a panel interview. That's usually where I get involved. And usually there's 4 or 5 of us in that room for that panel interview. It's a pretty long interview process. On Eric's team, they actually do a 4-hour interview for that interview. Very, very long. So
I don't even think Apple was that intense when they're hiring.
yeah. Well, the goal in that interview is to really figure out who that person is, like less about the job, but really understanding the person, you know?
It's awesome.
And then we do reference checks. And if that all looks good, we then make an initial job offer. So it's a ton of work to get through this process. Our admin team does a lot of the heavy lifting for us. Nice. And then we kind of break it up so it's not just all on one person's shoulders. But if you do follow this and you have the discipline to do it, the odds that you hire a good person go up exponentially. Training is a huge part of this as well. If you hire the right person, but you don't train them, then they're going to fall on their face as well. We take a very slow drip approach to this versus just a shotgun approach. And so the first thing we're going to do is train the person to show homes, just because that's going to free me up quicker to get back to more higher income producing activities. Showing homes, you know, from what I've seen, it takes between 8 and 12 hours per client to sell them a home of actually showing houses. So that's the most time intensive part. And if I can get that passed off quickly, that's going to free me up faster. So that's the first thing we do. And we do that by having them shadow us on showing homes, then we shadow them. The second part, we focus on sales conversations and lead conversion. The sales conversations part, we're really big fans of Robbie Tier at Hatch. He does a lot of training with our team on lead conversion. And we want to give them a couple of years to develop the skill set of converting leads. In my opinion, converting leads is one of the hardest skill sets to learn. It takes a long time to do it. And it's one of the reasons that new agents don't do well right out of the gates. It takes a long time, a lot of role plays to get through that. And then third is we actually go into the real estate stuff like contracts and things like that. Okay. And we follow this just basic process that We're going to always show you how to do something. Then you're going to demonstrate back to us how to do something. And then you're going to go do it. And then we're going to inspect it and see how it looks and make sure that everything looks good. The way that we collaborate on training, we use the Hatch modules. Eric and Robbie have built out an incredible online training system, and it's kind of plug and go for your team. We also use Trainual for our own team's systems and procedures like CSU procedures and things like that. And then we do a ton of role plays. The person's agent, their elite agent, is the one responsible for doing those role plays with them, but they also tap into the power of the whole team. This is the showing partner schedule that we run. My partner is off Wednesday and Thursday, and the reason why is we want to have leverage for the weekend. Most of our showings happen on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and this gives us more leverage to do that. They typically do role plays from 8 to 8:45. They do partner-specific training from 9 to 10. Then they do some database organization and scheduling showings from 10 to 12. And then 12 o'clock on, they're typically on showing appointments. So that's the basic schedule they run. On the listing partner side of things, it's more admin than it is running around showing houses. It's a lot of forms and paperwork and logistics to organize and vendors. And they're typically Monday through Friday in the office and then available on the weekends for communication. How are we doing on time, Zach?
We're doing all right. Let's keep it going. Do you have a hard stop at the end of the hour? Or?
No, I'm good as long as you are. I just don't want to cut off your next person.
Yep, we'll keep it going. I'll let you know when we got to wrap up. So.
All right, sounds good. I'm almost there. So what do you do now as the Rainmaker or as the elite agent? First and foremost, the training is on your shoulders. It's 100% on you to make sure that your partner gets world-class training. You're still going to do consultations, whether if it's a buyer consultation or a listing appointment. That is something you definitely want to keep control of and that you would hand off last. Negotiating contract details is something that I still do. I will write the offer typically, and then I will do the negotiating with the other agent. If you are the Rainmaker, you're going to have more time now to develop and build your team and work on your business and less in your business. And then, of course, some lead conversion. And I put maybe on there because not every Rainmaker loves lead conversion. If you don't, that's totally fine. Look at the ISA model. For me, I like being in the middle of it. I like taking the phone calls. I like talking to people and converting them and building those connections. So I don't hand all of that off. I just hand off a little piece of it. And then how do you scale it? Well, kind of like we talked earlier, Zach, you rent a partner first of all, you split a partner next, and then you get your own partner. If you want to go next level, you end up with multiple partners. I know some people on Hatch's team have 2 partners. I've got 2 as well, and it just provides a tremendous amount of leverage. And if you're trying to get your personal transaction count above like 100 transactions a year and also have quality of life and an amazing lifestyle, then if you can have 2 partners, you can probably get there. The common problems that I have seen with the showing partner model with other people who have tried to do it is hiring too fast. They don't have the discipline to go through those steps methodically one at a time, or they don't hire for culture. They just say, hey, this person seems nice. Let's go with it. Either you don't make training a priority. You just think that you can throw the person in your business and they're going to magically help you become more profitable, more successful. The training is so important. And then, of course, not building personal connections as well. You and your partner have to be attached at the hip. You have to talk a lot, and just on a personal level, even more than just business. One big common myth, and I hear this a lot too, is that your clients want you to do everything, or they're going to feel quote unquote passed off. Like, hey, he's passing me off to the next person. And I think when you look at the reality of it, people don't care that you are the person that does everything. You are not that important. I am not that important. What is important is the service that the client gets and the expertise that they get as well. And I think that if you really think through your process on how to seamlessly integrate your partner to you, they will not feel passed off, but they'll feel more taken care of. They're going to feel like they've got a team working for them and not just one person. They're not attached to one person's schedule, but they've got 7-day-a-week availability from your team. And so I put up a couple of Zillow reviews of kind of people's perception that have gone through this process as a buyer with us. All right, that's a wrap, Zach. I'm going to send it back to you. And
I can't believe you made it. You made it through so much in 30 minutes. That was my.
I'm out of breath.
That was awesome, Mike. A lot of people asking for those slides, so we want to make sure we get those if you're willing to share.
Yes.
Maybe if you just email them to me and Frank.
Yep, you got it.
Frank actually just messaged me and said, "Hey, if Mike can email those, I'll get them put up in the group, and then people can come in check them out at a little more leisurely pace, hopefully. There's a lot to digest there. Anything else, Mike? I mean, the biggest thing that I'm seeing here is you seem to be in a very good mindset. You seem to have a lot more time with family, a lot more, less stress, healthier. I mean, those are the real benefits from something like this. Correct me if I'm wrong. So
they really are. I mean, I think like as top producers, we are always stuck in this decision. Okay, am I going to go make a huge income or am I going to have family time? And oftentimes those become very tangible decisions made during the day. Like someone wants to go see a house and you're with your kids. And this model allows you to no longer have to decide between those two. You can have both. You can have your cake and eat it too with the partner model. You can have that great level of income and you can have time for your family. So it's been a game changer for us. I'm hugely grateful for Eric to take the time to really develop the system and then to coach us through building it into our business. No, my bench hasn't gone up 500% yet.
Mike, it's gone up at least a good percentage, right?
Bench is only up about 40%, so it's not keeping pace, unfortunately.
I love it. All right, Mike.
You guys the slides.
We're gonna put those slides in. People want to get in contact with you. They're asking. I'm sure your Facebook is there or something. So
yeah, Facebook Messenger is the best way to reach me. Just shoot me a message. I saw a question about the Google Forms. We're happy to share the links to those as well. And you guys can just feel free to rip off and duplicate what we're doing from those as well. Okay.
Cool. Mike, thanks, man. Thanks again. We'll be in touch.